Okay, so the checklist was totally blown today. Uh, Hi, Stephanie. How are you? So, oh my goodness, this is the worst start of all episodes. So we've done 10. This is number 11, and I hit stop streaming when I should have hit start recording, which total. I mean, right the very second we went live. So I had to go back. And when that happens, you have to go all the way back to Facebook and generate a new stream key, go back into your streaming software, add it, kick it all back off. Then I started talking, and the mic was way over there, and then it was on mute, and then I pulled it back over, and then apparently it wasn't connected because I was at a different location yesterday, and I had to reset, of all the things. So um, it's all good. How's everybody doing? What's going on? Awesome. Let's see. Where are we at today? I'm excited because um, I have the three ring gameplay pretty much locked in. I fiddled with it last night and looked for some more bugs. And um, hang on, I'm just setting up the next video. I'm producing while I'm talking. It's all good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into iPad right away this morning because I've got some ideas, some inspirational ideas that came up. And hang on, let me. Okay, we're transitioning now. Okay, so we should see the iPad coming up. There we go. So this is our sort of workbook that we've been using. Get the old trusty, dusty iPad pencil. Now, one of the things that, if you were here yesterday, and again, it was an idea that somebody shared. One of the earlier episodes about adding a best score. I really like that idea. We're kind of on the fly because we never mapped it out. We just kind of went into storyline. And it's kind of another one of those lessons learned. If you just kind of start fiddling around, you could end up overthinking it. There's a lot of distractions in storyline trying to think it the way triggers read and that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. And I tried to get it last night and fiddle with it. And again, I couldn't get it to work. And I know it's there. I know it's not that difficult, but I was probably overthinking it. So I wanted to come back to the iPad and just sketch it out. So I've got three variables. Let's just start with this. We're going to call it, how to calculate the best score. And I've got three variables. Well, we've got two already, right? We've got number of moves. So that tracks every time you move a piece. And then we have number of games. So that's if you want to play, multiple times. So, and then we have, yesterday I added a best score. Now, in order for this to work, we have to pass. So a lot of times when we do adjust variables in storyline, what we do is we, we add, subtract, kind of do that. But storyline also gives you the ability to take one value from one variable and put it into another variable. In my world, in my head, I've coined that as set and pass. So it's kind of a football analogy, if you will. But I'm setting a variable or a number of variables, multiple variables. And then I'm passing the values of those into sort of a holding variables, like a holding bucket, and then using those values to do calculation. So I'm not interrupting with, and the reason we do that is because we want to be able to keep we want to keep displays. And let me map this out. I know what I'm saying in my head. Sorry. I have the big giant coffee mug this morning. Okay, so let's figure this out. So let's use a higher score. So we've been doing the 3-ring gameplay, right? So 3-ring gameplay is the formula is 2 to the n minus 1, where n equals 3. So the minimum number of moves is 7. Right? So 2 times 2 times 2 minus 1 is 7. So if that's the minimum, let's figure one out that's higher than that. So that, like, you go to a second gameplay, so you get like a 12. And then after 12, you play again, and then you get a 9. And then after that, so you want to track the number of moves at the bottom of the screen in our prototype, in our demo, but then you want to show the best score. But you want to keep the best score showing. So if you get a higher than what you've already there, then there's no change. But if you get a lower one, then replace it. That's what we're trying to figure out. So Kelly, what are the best parameters of best score? Entire history, this game, between multiple players at a certain time. Can a player sign in with a unique ID to compare a score to another player? Yeah, I'm going to capture that question, Kelly, and I'm going to add it to the add-ons, right? Excuse me. So yes, and that. Yes. So that's the cool thing, right? We can build on that. So we want to save those ideas as we keep going on, because once we get 3, 4, 5 ring gameplays, then what do? Are we doing multiple players? Are we doing it one-on-one, 2 game, well, leaderboard? And as I mentioned yesterday at the end, I just signed up for the XAPI cohort, where I'm going to try to see if I can implore some of that XAPI statements to this game, and we can go from there and see what we can end up doing there. So I'm going to let's capture Kelly's notes right here. Put Kelly up here so I don't forget who suggested this, because again, I can't remember who actually suggested best score initially. I have to go all the way back. Somebody, it was one of the earlier episodes. So let's see what we got. Entire history. Now this sketch is nothing but best score. That's all this sketch is going to be. So we don't have to worry about it. Then score this game. What else do we have? Multiple players. What else do we have? At a certain. What do you mean by that? Between multiple players at a certain time. And then compare scores. So that'd be like a leaderboard. Compare scores. Now, I will say the gameplay itself, the main focus of this project, if you will, is to build this entire experience in Storyline and what Storyline gives us out of the box. So when I start going towards XAPI and some of that other stuff, we're going to call that Project 2.0, if you will. This project, I want to be able to build this to show that anybody can build this in any version of Storyline. And then when we start adding multiple, like where we start community, where you start showing up community leaderboards and things like that, obviously that's not something you can do out of the box. You have to add either JavaScript and hopefully XAPI. Maybe a game equals a certain time. I'm not quite sure I follow you yet, Kelly. Time as in time is time of day? Like, or are you talking about duration? Like it took you 3 minutes and 15 seconds to finish the game. In that context of time? If that's the case, I'm gonna write it like this: length of game play. Length of gameplay. Time. Timer. Something like that. Yeah, okay, an instance, right. So time, so like a gameplay. How long does it take to play a game? Again, Storyline doesn't have a timer. globally, there's a timer that's part of the player, and that only shows up if during like a quiz. So if you use a result slide, it's tied to a result slide. So there's a way to use that and trick this out, meaning we would build a blank result slide and put this entire game on that slide, and then ignore all of the other settings of a result slide except that one timer. So again, it goes back to the drag and drop freeform interaction. When we converted the whole thing just to grab that one setting available within that template about not allowing more than one drag item to a drop target, but that didn't work. So we could do that with a result slide. I think there's other ways we can do that. I've seen some pretty cool timers using object states and layers, and so that's something we can consider. Right? Keep adding on and building on. Cool. Hey, there's Tracy. Hey, Tracy. Great. Okay, where am I? Let's cordon this off like that. And those are thoughts, right? We can build on this. So on the best score idea, here's what I was kind of thinking in my head. And here's what I'm going to mapping out. So down here at the bottom, if you remember the gameplay that we have right now, we have number of moves shows up at the bottom of our screen of our game, and let's assume your first one is 12, and games over here is we're on the first game. Like that, and then best score is shown up here at the top, and currently there's nothing. It's first gameplay. That's the first one. So after the first gameplay, we want to move. We want another variable. We want a best score, or wait, we want not best score. We want number of moves hold. This is kind of like a bucket, if you will. So what we're going to do is we're going to take number of moves. I'm just thinking this out loud. I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to, after first of all, move, we're going to set that. We're going to pass that over there. So after the first gameplay, when you go to the results, like feedback, we're going to move 12. So now 12 is in that value. That value 12 is now in that variable. Now we also, because it's the first gameplay, we're going to move up here, and 12 is going to go in here as well. If, however, only if number of games is equal to 1. That's our first gameplay. Now, what happens if our second gameplay, right? So what happens when gameplay moves to 2? Well, we still move 12 in here. We still move 12, or the next game, let's say the next gameplay is 8. So now we take 8 and we reset the hold variable to 8. So every time we play a game, we're going to reset the hold variable. But now we're going to move the hold value in the best score if if, I think this is right, if number of moves is less than, number of moves, we're going to move in there. Oh, I know. No, I know what it is. Hang on. If moves hold is less than best score. and number of games is greater than 1. You think that'll work? Yeah, my best score. That's right, Tracy. So it's just your, well, so maybe we should call it my best score. Something like that. I don't know if that's going to work, but that's better than I was trying to do it while in Storyline yesterday. So we're going to save that off. And then I had some other things that were going on my mind this morning. Is kind of, I'm going to kind of map this out again. So let's say we have this starting screen. So this is sort of our launch. And then, like a big intro kind of thing, right? And then during the intro, we, how many games, what kind of gameplay do you want to play? I don't know what this looks like yet visually, but let's say 2-ring gameplay, 3-ring gameplay, 4. So there's 4 levels, if you will. Let's call them levels. So the question is this a practice, like a freebie? Is this where this is the tutorial, like the how to play? Maybe use that 2-ring gameplay just to kind of, get folks, like do a tutorial, here's how it plays, and then your turn, kind of thing, maybe, and do that as the intro, and then maybe these 3 are levels, and you can only advance to the next level after you do it. And then maybe here we go to 3-ring gameplay. How do you win a level? Just the first time when you get to the minimum number. So when you get when you advance, advance next level. Minimum moves achieved. Something like that, maybe. That was one of the thoughts I had. So it doesn't matter how many times it takes you. And then I also thought maybe something up here, not that you would launch it here, so it'd be a button up here, kind of the same button. And this would be a my overall scores. So it'll track like 3-ring, and it'll track number of games, best scores. So you can see like a big, like your own personal leaderboard, maybe. And this would be almost like a light box, if you will. So I can look at this anytime, anywhere, any game level at any time. So that's kind of a cool idea. So I'm just jumping back into, I'm sorry, my head's been down. Let me go back into chat here. Where's my mouse? I had a mouse. Where's it at? And here it is. Okay. All right, so let's get back in here. So what does number of games matter? Number of games, that's like attempts. Maybe we should call it attempts instead of games. maybe it should be called attempt. Well, attempt. So attempts. It's kind of a, I don't know. It's how you do. So if you think of attempts, what does that mean? It's like I attempted, but I failed. So I'm gonna do it again. This is my second attempt to win. So it's not really an attempt. You actually are playing a game, and eventually you're gonna win. The idea though is, do you win the minimum number of moves, or do you win but it took you 12 moves? You're still winning. You still completed the game, but it's not necessarily you failed. Does that make sense? Unless I put a cap on it, the only way you can fail is if it took you 50 moves, you still haven't figured it out, and then sorry, you can start over. I mean, I don't know if that's even necessary. So yeah, it's kind of attempts, right? So, but it's game. I don't know. I guess that's more of the, back to the how to play thing. What does games mean? What would the number of games matter to best score being shown? Well, that's a good question. So it took me 3 games to get the minimum number 7. And then once you achieve 7, or in a 3-ring gameplay, once you achieve the minimum number, then you've earned a star or something. Maybe we add some gamification to it, and that allows you then to move on to the 4-ring gameplay. So you can't play 4 rings, so we put locks on it. So maybe there's little padlocks. Something like this, and this one is unlocked. So these are a level. Maybe that's an idea. We can do something like that. And then Kelly, you're right. Like ranking scores, we could rank them once we get to more of a global community leaderboard. Hopefully, that's where the XAPI will come into play, where I can play at 10 o'clock this morning, and Tracy can play at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and we can go look at the leaderboard. How many times did it take you? It's kind of one of those games that will. What's I'm trying to say? It's not addictive in a gameplay to where once you win all 3 levels, then where's the motivation to keep playing? Where's the addictive nature of gameplay to cause you to keep playing the game over and over again, to keep getting, because it's really, you only get a best score, or you only get, once you win, right? After that, you're like, okay, been there, done that, I'm done playing. I don't know. How do we make it more interesting? But we still got 2 more levels to build. We got a bunch of stuff other than do. We got a long way to go. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to pull this back up. Let's see if we can get that best score working. I think that might work. I don't know. We'll have to see. More rings? Yeah, I saw one where they did 10 rings, and they said it would take, oh gosh, somebody do the math on that. What's the 2 to the n minus 1, where n is 10? What is that? Somebody do the math while I switch over, while I produce here. I have no idea what that's going to be. So I'm going to flip over to storyline, and there we go. Okay. 2 times 2. See, it got me thinking. Okay. Trace, I don't know if you were here with us yesterday, but what we did is we come up with a new naming convention where each one of these layers represents a move. And there's something else that I thought of yesterday or this morning. I can't remember when I thought of it. But each one of these layers, if we go into each one of these layers, all of the gameplay is on each layer, which is fine. But one thing I noticed, that here's that add 1 to number of moves. When one ring is dropped on, and I'm wondering if that's necessary. I'm wondering if I can just put that variable up here at the top to add 1 to moves, because each move is based on the drop. So if I drop a ring, let me play it out. I know what I'm thinking. What I'm doing is reducing the clutter in the trigger panel and taking basically eliminating one trigger that adjusted variable per layer. So I think I checked last. There's 98 instances of using the number of moves variable, adding to that. So I can cut that in half by just using the timeline. So, wow, this is taking a long time to generate this morning. Cue the Jeopardy music. Huh. What's going on here? This is the first time. Here it comes. First time storyline's kind of bogged down on me. There it is. Okay. You know what's really exciting so far? This entire gameplay uses no variables. None. The only variables we're using are scoring. So if I didn't want to score, I strip out the scoring and those positioning number variables up in the left corner, we're not even using those right now. I thought I needed them, but I did when everything was on the same slide. But when I moved over to this layer strategy, I'm still setting those position variables, but they're not being used other than that. We're not evaluating them. So this entire thing is not using any variables at all, which is pretty fascinating. I think it's pretty cool. So watch this. So I'm going to make this one move. So ring 1 can go to one of two places. It can go to B5 or it can go over here to C5. Now, it only adds, right now, I've got it adding 1 to moves when I drop it on that target. But I'm wondering if I add 1 to moves when I hit this layer. And if I do that, then I can eliminate the number of variables that I'm using to count. So I'm going to try something. Before I do that, though, in case it doesn't work and I don't want to have to redo all the work, I am going to save. And the reason I've called this solid is because it works. That's when I say solid, I've got these versions here. So I'm going to do 6 solid. No, I'm not, because that's not a new version. We're going to call this 5.2. Let's call it 5.2. I don't know why. It's now 5.2. But what we're going to do is I'm going to try something. We're going to come here to sort. So this is start. Now, start is not where we start. Just real quick clarification. We start here. But in the event I go to the first move, let's say I move ring 1 to tower B, and I have to accommodate the ability for the user to put that ring back where it started from. So I don't want to close or hide the layer. I just want to duplicate the base layer and just because I need to add these triggers. And I don't want these triggers on this base layer because that goes, it's the same thing. So I suppose I could just hide the layer. It's essentially the identical. Nah, I'll leave it like that. It's just easy. Once we get into this stack of layers, I want to stay there. But what I'm thinking is I just eliminate this and just pretty much say add when the timeline starts. And we just do that. We have to do that. I'm just going to do it on, it's going to take me just a little bit. I'm just going to do it on this B win. So I need to take this one out. See how cleaner that is? It's now I only have to think about, the possible moves. This is gameplay right here. These triggers. All of these, the variables up here are just setting the positions what we're not using, and we're using that variable that's not part of gameplay. We're just using that to track, right? These first, and I mentioned this yet, these first three triggers to change the state, changing the state of the rings on the base layer, and it's the only time you're going to see them as on these this first potential, where you could go. And C1 is the other one too, is moving. It's the first move of where, because we need to hide. We can't. And I have to play it out to show you. But essentially, once we get into stack layers, I don't want to see the rings on the base layer. Otherwise, we'll see duplicates, and we don't want to do that. Okay, we got that. Let me clean up B2 here. Delete that one. And change this one. Timeline starts. And then B3. I went back through last night and kind of cleaned up a lot of the bugs. Well, not really bugs. It's just missing, like I missed one, like a potential move. That's what all those other layers there at the top of the layer panel, those are, and again, for those that weren't here, Tracy, for you, I don't think you were here yesterday. So you see the pattern. So B1 through B6 is the win path or the success path in the event the user wins on tower B. Then C is same thing. It's the 7 moves to win on tower C. And then the 7th move is the feedback, the win layer. So you either win with the minimum number of moves, or you win with any number of moves greater than the minimum, greater than 7 in this case. So we'd have to, we had a 4th ring, and we got to go back through every one of these layers. Plus, we're going to have to add more layers. So the next slide, and that's the other thing that this advantage, this approach to this game play is easier to just think about how many triggers we've got in every one of these layers, every possible move. And if I was going to build this and that's how I started with the 2-ring gameplay. Everything was on that base, so that was going to get ridiculous. I mean, it would be a lot of triggers, and I don't even know how many there are just for this gameplay. But that would be kind of sick. Add number moves. Yeah, let's see. All right, so let's test and see. Let's test and see if I get the right correct number of moves. Oh, thank you, Tracy. I don't know if it's impressive or not, but thank you. It's kind. All right, we're going to try to win on Tower B. Here's a secret after playing this so many times. If you win on Tower B, if you want to win on Tower B, put ring 1 on Tower B. If you want to win on Tower C, put ring 1 over on Tower C. You get the pre-launch tip, gameplay tip. So 2 goes over here, 1 here, 3 back to B, 1 over to A, 2 on top of B, and then finally, look, we got 1 extra move. Okay, let's play that again. Where's that extra move coming in at? Oh, you know what else would be really cool? What if there was a replay? So you know that little animated GIF that I'm using is the promo graphic, where it's got the pattern to show the win of 5 rings? What if there's a way to track your actual gameplay moves, regardless of which direction you go? Track that, and then generate an animated GIF or some kind of an animation that would replay your move, your game. I gotta make a note. That's insane. How do I do that? I bet I can. I bet I can do that. Wow, that's going to take some thought. How do I do that? An undo move? Replay, yeah, replay your moves. Let's see. A game show? I'm not designing a game. This game's already designed. I'm just reimagining it. So I'm not taking credit for the game. I didn't design the game. It was a mathematician in 1893 that designed the game. And I don't even know it's called a game. I think it's just called a puzzle. Anyway. So yeah, replay the moves. You're right, Kelly. That's what I was thinking. With the timer and the replay. Yeah, so we're adding all kinds of fun stuff. Undo move, Tracy. No, there's no... I don't know. Maybe. Let's add that. Let's think about that. What is an undo move, Tracy? I mean, think about the impact of that, right? So if I make a move, let's play that out real quick. Just kind of stop it. We're going to be doing this till December. It's too late to get it into Demo Fest. What if I keep and then just build it and we'll toss it in Demo Fest, right? At Learning Solutions in March, maybe. All right, so check this out. So let's say I go here. Oh, look, there's 2. That's where it's at, right at the beginning. Okay. All right, now I know where that's at. All right, let's say we do that, and then to Tracy's, let's say this is a incorrect or not an invalid move, but notice now I'm off the path. So the B1, 2, 3, the success path layer numbering. So I'm off the path. So undo. So if I put an undo button here, that has to, well, it's going to be tricky because I need to know where you just came from. I need to know what layer you just came from. So I have to track positioning. Well, I can do that with those ring position, those numbers. Maybe. So ring 1 was in position, and that's incorrect. Actually, I look at it. Ring 2 is actually in 15 now. That should be 15 right there. But ring 1 was in position 10. So if I hit an undo button, I subtract 1 from my move, so I get my move back. Is that what you're saying? Like a mulligan, maybe? All right, that's good. I wrote the note down, so let's... right now, your undo is you just move the piece back where you came from, but you lose a stroke. You lose a move. All right, so where was that? Which layer was right? No, it was right. That was right there. And this says ring 1 is on 4. Ring 2 is on 15. This is what this needs to be. There we go. And then where do we see the number of moves? Right here. So we don't want any moves right here at all because that's the start. And then once you go in, you get moved. All right, let's play that. See what happens. You know what? Oh my goodness. You guys are killing me. Let's see. Where's that at? There it is. Wow, that's coming up. Let's see. 10. How do you do that? 2 times 2 times 2, that's 3, times 4 times 5. Yeah, there's 5 minus 1 times 6 times 7 times 8 times 9 times 10 minus 1. 1,023 moves is the minimum number of gameplay to win with 10 rings. There's real estate. Look, I got enough real estate to put 10 rings on this game board. No, Kelly, I'm not doing it. Can you imagine the number of layers in that? Well, we'd test old storylines breakability, wouldn't we, if we did that? That'd take me a year to finish that darn game. 1,023 moves. Holy smokes. So you could maybe limit to 3 hearts, and each heart allows you, like a life? Oh, you need to just go on. Don't you have something to do, Tracy? Lives, so like 3 lives. 3 lives, is that per level? Or is it 3 lives per level or 3 lives per whole game? And is a game all 4 levels? So maybe the lower right where it says games in the lower right, maybe that says level 1, like level 1. I don't know. Oh gosh. How about this? let's stop, and I'll add all this up. I got all the notes, but we still got to build 4-ring and 5-ring gameplay. So we hadn't even figured out this darn best score yet. I just want to make sure that this concept of reducing the number of triggers, adding variables, is going to work. 6. There's a lag over here. 7. So 6, and it didn't add 7. So something's missing. All right, hold on. Let me count that again. I think it'll work. I'm just gonna test it, and then I'll clean it up. I'll clean it up later. Yeah, that's why it goes back to, that's right, Kelly. It's that flat rate problem. The hours I have invested in this project is crazy. The live stuff, I'm reneging on my promise. I can't stop not working on this now in the evening, figuring out some things. So, because I've probably got another, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours in this that's not been live. Tinkering with it real early in the morning or last thing I do. Like I tinkered with this last night from about, 11:30 to 1, somewhere around there. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're on B6 and it's not going to, so we're on B6, we're still on B6 layer, B6 layer, so that's it, because I'm not, It's allowing me to drop on B3. Okay, that's going to take a little bit more. So I'm on B6, and then when I drop ring 1 on B3, it is evaluating if it's equal to or greater than 7. If it's equal to 7, go to the win layer. If it's is greater than 7, then go to the greater than 7 layer. So somehow, this is only the 6th move, which is correct because we're on B6. And then it's looking for 7. So on this layer, I may need to keep on this layer, I may need to keep this trigger on the last move when dropped on either B3 or C5. No, I don't want it on C, only B3. Because if I drop it on C5, I'm going to a different layer and that's going to pick up the variable move. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So I only want to evaluate the win drop target. So add 1 if dropped on B3, and then here it goes to C5, and then C5 will show one of the other layers that, we'll add that. We'll fix that over there. So I need to keep that one right there. I think that's going to do it. I think that fixes it. So let's see if this figures out. Where are we at? We got 10 minutes. I still want to get that best score figured out before we shut down. Okay. The count should work now. And then I'll leave it at that, and then I can come back and clean all that up later. Well, there's a video lag with my mouse today for some reason. 5, 6. Now this one, I'm going to add another when I drop it on the shape, and then I'm going to show the layer. There we go. 7. And then I've already done some stuff up here. I've kind of put them over there. So let's call that a win. Let's call that a success. We've just eliminated the number of variables. Like I said, there was 98. So I just eliminated 6 triggers. So we're down to 92. And then when I go through all this, that'll cut back down to about 44, 45 uses of that trigger. So that's just easier management. It just cleans things up real nice. So now let me pull up my notes on this best score thing and see if we can't knock this out in the next 10 minutes. Okay, so I need to, it's on both of these win layers, and here's the thing. So I add number of moves to best score if gameplay is number of games equals 1. Come on. There's 1. and then move. Then we're always going to move, move the value of moves into the hold. I need to rename these. These are kind of confusing. Hang on a minute. You know, there's another thing. This no moves. It reads no moves. I'm going to call it num moves. It reads better. Let me name this. And this is another advantage because it doesn't matter. It's going to look. See, it's automatically updating. And this is called num moves hold, not num score. So this is num moves hold. And then best score. Okay. So add the number of moves to best score if number of games is equal to 1. Add number of moves to number of moves hold. And then add the number of moves hold to best score if number of moves hold is less than less than best score, and number of games is greater than 1. That should do it. Now, why do I have it on both layers? It's kind of a checks and balances, because if I win, I don't really need, I don't need all of this, because a win is 7. It's always going to go at 7, but I need all 3 of these now on this layer as well. So I'm just going to delete these. And paste that one there. And come and grab this one. And finally, this one. So they're pretty universal. And if this works, then I'll add these 3 triggers to these other 2 win layers up here, if these 3 work. Now, to get them to work, we have to play a game that is more, we can't win. We got to get more than 7, anything. Oh, you're welcome, Tracy. Thank you. Thank you. Tracy must have, looks like she stepped out. It's a lag, so I'm just now seeing the comment. Watch my brain work. Okay. All right, so I need to get a gameplay that is higher than 7 and win on Tower B. So let's kind of move things around. Oh, you know what? This might not work yet because I've been fiddling with all those. There's 7. There's 8. Okay, we're up high. I'm gonna come over here and add another one. Come on, let go. There it goes. Wow, there's a huge video lag today. 9, 10. Okay, I just need something. There we go. So I got 11, and we put it in hold, and I'm just showing this now just to see if it works. I'm gonna go gameplay. Now, what should happen? Everything should reset except. Right. So my moves and my games went to 2. And these are, we're going to keep those because we always want to see the best score. And this won't show, this won't be displayed on screen. This is just, for us to watch. So let's get another score less than 11. So let's see if we can do something less than 11. Go here. come back over here. I know the moves aren't necessarily, because I don't have all those variables set up yet. That cleanup, I already know. So 8, and this should be 9. So now this, if this works, we're in. If it doesn't work, then we're going to call it, and I'm going to go back to the drawing board. So when I drop this ring on that target, best score should change to 8. Oh. It sure does sound like it would work in theory, didn't it? All right, back to the drawing board. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. That's all the time we got today, though. That is it. Wow, that was fun. A lot of great ideas. You're all in trouble. I'm gonna have to like commission you to start doing some of the busy work. I'll do this, and then I'll just send the file to you guys. You finish up all the cleanup and busy work. How about that? And then send it back. Good stuff. That's a good solid hour. Appreciate it. We're back tomorrow at 11 o'clock, same time. I got to look at schedule next week, so keep an eye on. I'll figure that out by tomorrow afternoon, and then I'll figure out what we're going to do next week. But I really want to get. What I think I'm going to do is keep working on this to build it out, and then kind of do like we were doing here, just kind of do some testing, refinement. Because if I go live, and I noticed that in episode 9, when I was building the layers, I could tell I was really getting into that sort of flow. And when I do that, I don't talk, and I kind of zone out, and I don't want to do that to you guys, So I know I can move pretty fast when I get into that zone. So we move into like 4-ring gameplay, and I'll probably build it all out, and then we'll come back and recap and kind of do all that kind of stuff. So, oh, Garrett, hey buddy, my son just joined, and we are just leaving. So, hey, thanks for jumping in, Garrett. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, 12 noon Eastern. So, thanks, and we'll see you later. Bye.